So I see folks are joining us here for our LionSide Chat today. Come on in and check your devices. We will get started in a few minutes. Come on in, everyone. We'll get started in about 30 seconds. Okay, here we are. Thank you. Welcome to Penn State Berks LionSide Chats. My name is Dawn Pfeiffer Wrights, and I'm one of 3 LionSide Chat moderators you will see throughout our semester, working alongside Ryan Hassler and Sonia De Plato. Come on in and welcome to our campus. We're so glad that you could join us today. Before we get started, I wanted to share, please feel free to submit questions throughout the program through the Q&A feature that Zoom provides. I will not, however, be using the raise hand feature throughout our session, so please don't use that. Excuse me. Once our presentation concludes, there will be a discussion with our presenter, and we are also recording today's session so that you can revisit the topic and even share this with friends or other family that might be interested in it. And within about a week, the archive of the LionSide Chat website will have our archive up there. So please feel free to check that out. And today I'm excited to introduce Angie DiJiacomo, who is our Office of Campus Life and Student Government Association, someone from that office. And Angie is going to talk with us in our We Are Involved presentation today. Angie, I'm going to go ahead and pull my screen share down and allow you to share yours. I'm excited that you're here today. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Dawn. I'm also very excited to be here.
And I'm going to be here hanging out. So if you need me, let me know. Otherwise, I will hang out here with my camera off. Okay.
All right. Sounds good.
Right.
Thank you. All right. Hi, everybody. Thanks so much for joining us. As Dawn mentioned, if you have any questions throughout the presentation today, please feel free to pop those in the Q&A section so I can help you. This is really meant to be informational, to get you kind of thinking about how, your Penn State experience makes a lasting impact. So I'm going to go ahead and first introduce myself. Like Dawn mentioned, my name is Angie DiJiacomo. I am the Assistant Director for Campus Life at Penn State Berks. I am in my 5th year here. Some of my responsibilities include the oversight of leadership opportunities, all of the clubs and organizations on campus. I oversee Homecoming and Family Weekend. I advise our Student Government Association. I actually publish the This Week at Berks weekly newsletter you get in your email every Sunday night at 8 p.m. I also oversee a lot of other facets of campus life, including student activities, our leadership banquet, and things of that nature, arts and lecture series. Just a little bit about me. I graduated from Westchester University with both my bachelor's and master's degree in higher education counseling. In my past time, I enjoy teaching dance classes, including disciplines of tap, hip hop, ballet, to both young students and adults. I've got 2 dogs at home, Bella and Brutus. And I just like to say, as it reflects in my slide here, that I am by no means consider myself an expert. I just really love what I do. And as a result, you'll kind of hear me talking about some clubs and orgs and involvement and things like that. And it comes off very passionately because I enjoy getting to interact and engage with students from all facets of life and consider myself a lifelong learner as a result of it. So before we get started talking about all of the things, I'm going to go ahead and ask Dawn if she can go ahead and execute that poll. So in an effort to avoid talking at you for the entire time, humor me with a poll here. I want to know how many of you were involved while in high school, whether that be in a club, maybe you were involved in an arts, a sports team, maybe you were a tutor or a teaching assistant. Maybe you were involved in nothing, and that's okay, right? Maybe you Netflixed and Disney Plused it all day. I am not necessarily privy to those two platforms, just examples. Or maybe you did a combination of the above. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are. So I'll give maybe 30 seconds for that.
Angie, let me know when you want me to close the poll.
Can you tell him if most folks did it?
Yep, there are 19 out of 22 that have voted.
I'll take it. I'll take it. We can go ahead and close that.
Do you see the results?
I do not.
How about now?
Ah, there they are. There they are. All right. So, wow, over half of you have a combination of the above. That's amazing. That's fantastic. I love it. So it sounds like most of the folks here today have participated in some kind of involvement through their high school experience, which is fantastic. So let's talk about college, right? Thank you so much, Dawn, for doing that for us. So today, I'm really hoping you walk away remembering one thing: YOLO. All right. I know my references are old. So am I. I'll put that out there. But I wanted to take a minute to kind of share an image of how the average college student spends their time. So again, these are rough numbers, right? There are 156 hours in 1 week. 15 average student, 15 of those hours are for the classroom, right? Hopefully our students are getting an average of 8 hours of sleep a night. So that would equate to 56 hours there. Studies show that at least 2 hours of homework per class credit puts you at 30 hours for homework, and about an hour to eat each meal puts you at 21, leaving you with 46 hours left in your time for leisure, right? So really, we're going to be talking today about those 46 hours. Okay. So sure, right? I'm going to go ahead and assume that probably plan on filling a lot of those hours with social media, TikTok, Instagram, right? Maybe you'd like to go to the gym, right? Maybe you work, maybe you have a part-time job. Maybe you really just enjoy TV binging, right? Again, I mentioned that Netflix, right? Like every other student, right? But you're not, right? You're here today. You took the initiative to hop on Zoom, log into this series, right? And learn how to become more engaged and involved, right? So you're really not like every other student, are you? You're here with us. And as a result, you're already ahead of the game, overlooking a lot of other students here that have started, right? You've already been offered opportunities that most Penn State students either don't take advantage of or they don't have, right? So going back, YOLO, right? You have all this time. What do you plan on doing with it, right? Well, you're probably thinking, where do I start, right? So I pulled up here the Merriam-Webster definition of leadership, right? And involvement. Leadership, textbook def, right? Is the office or position of a leader, the capacity to lead, the act or instance of leading leaders. Whoa, 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 whoa. That is a lot of pressure. Let's rewind for a second, right? Rewind time. Do you have to become a president of club in your first year of college in order to succeed, or at any year of your college experience? Absolutely not. No. That's not what we're trying to say here, right? What we're really trying to say here, what should happen in your first year of college or at any time in your years of college, 1, become self-aware, right? And really what that means is keep an open mind. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Identify your strengths Be mindful and be thankful, right? A lot of people work hard to give you and present you with opportunities like this one, but a lot of the other ones on campus, right? Showing appreciation, being respectful by taking advantage of those opportunities is how you become self-aware, right? Thinking about why you're here and the intentionality behind that, right? Back to that time, back to those hours in your week, right? Value your time. Try new things. College, yes, you're here to earn a degree. Absolutely 100%. But it's also about learning outside of the classroom, right? And my whole thing is, if it doesn't bring you joy, it is not worth your time, right? You're here by choice. And as a result, make sure that you take the most of that time and make it, take advantage of it. My absolute favorite, choose your attitude. So here's the thing, y'all. College is not a stroll through the park. It is, in fact, a marathon, right? And challenges are going to happen. And sometimes it's going to be tough. It's going to be hard, right? But it's really how you face them that determines your experiences and what opportunities present themselves for the future, right? Choosing your attitude is about making an intentional choice to be present, to be, valuable, right? And to kind of go through life with a positive outlook, right? We're all human. We don't necessarily always wake up on the right side of the bed every morning, right? And things happen where it can most certainly beat you down, but it's making, again, the choice to be positive, to be strong, and to get through it, right? And ultimately, with all of that, you don't have to do these things alone. It is okay to ask for help. It is okay to seek guidance from those who have been in your shoes. Myself, Dawn, every faculty and staff member here at Berks have been in your shoes, right? Ask us questions, seek help. You don't have to do it by yourself, right? Okay, so let's kind of get back onto the path that we were talking a little bit before. How do I get involved at Penn State Berks, right? So here's the thing, right? It's no science. There is no special formula. I'm not going to be able to sit here in this presentation and say, you have to do X, Y, and Z. That's not the purpose of this today, right? It's all about navigating what is most important to you, right? So the time outside of the classroom, like I mentioned, is valuable, and your college experience is short, right? I know you're thinking, I'm here for 5 years, Angie. That's not really short. In all actuality, it is. And I tell folks this every time you step foot on campus your first year. By the time you graduate, you're going to blink and think, what happened? Where did it go, right? So as a result, make sure you make the most of doing what you love to do, right? Studying, researching, leading a club, being involved in a club, your friends, maybe going to football games up at University Park. Maybe it's, hanging out with your RA or hanging out up in the residence halls, whatever it is, make the most of what you love to do, right? So, I think I'm jumping ahead of the game, but that's okay. So find your passion. I tell folks, don't let Penn State Berks be 13th, 14th, 15th grade, right? As a side note, most folks don't know this or don't necessarily understand this because I don't think it's necessarily presented all that well to students in the get-go, right? So as part of your tuition, you pay a student-initiated fee. That fee goes towards a multitude of things. It goes towards student activities on campus. It goes toward tutoring. It goes toward, paying students to be teaching assistants. It goes towards all kinds of things. My point in saying that is you already pay for it, take advantage of it, right? So let's start talking about what it is that sets your drive, right? And I'm going to actually bounce back to the last slide here. what it is that sets your drive, right? Are you looking to fluff your resume in hopes of landing the job of your dreams, right? Maybe you want to go work at Google or Lockheed Martin or NASA, right? Or maybe you're looking to just go to grad school, right? Maybe you're looking for that furthered education, right? Maybe you're hoping to find more social avenues to connect with other people on campus, right? We just got out of a year and a half of solitude, right? Of isolation. We just spent a whole lot of time by ourselves, right? So maybe you're an extrovert and you're looking to really connect with other folks and make new friends and network, right? I put that on this slide because it is important. Networking, getting to know other folks. You never know who you're going to meet on campus, right? So this is step one, right? Figuring out and establishing what piques your interests and navigates the amount of commitment you're willing to dedicate, right? We talked about those 46 hours. How much of that time are you willing to commit and dedicate to, this outside involvement, right? Everyone should have gotten a campus activities calendar, at least our first year students, right? If you came to welcome weekend, you got a bag, and inside that bag was a calendar for August and September with a lot of tiny font on it, right? Please don't ever say that Penn State Berks has nothing to do on campus. Those are lies, because we always have things to do on campus, right? They might not necessarily be things that you want to do, and I'm going to get back to that comment in a second, but there are things to do, right? So start by attending social programs, right? Campus Activities Board is our primary programming organization on campus, and they have 2, 3, 4, sometimes 5 programs a week where you win prizes. You get to connect with people and ultimately just have fun, right? Attend lectures and workshops, right? I mean, you're here today, so you're already kind of on board with this, right? But there's going to be a slew more to take advantage of after today, right? So they're free. They're free for you. Take advantage of it. You're going to learn new things every time. I promise you. You will not have opportunities like this after your time here. So take advantage and learn a little something about yourself, right? Because that's ultimately going back to that becoming self-aware, learning about who you are in this process. Step 2, advocate for yourself. Unlike high school, or maybe you were in private school, whatever, no one is going to hand you opportunities, right? We'll present you with opportunities. You'll see advertisements for opportunities, but rarely is somebody going to call you and say, I need you to be here, right? Because that's not how things work here in college. You have to advocate for yourself. You absolutely must be willing to reach out to other people. I promise you, in this process, as it relates to clubs and organizations, they would love to have more members. They're always looking to recruit new people. So if you know that we have Berks Benefiting Thon on campus, or we have, again, Campus Activities Board, or the other clubs that we have here, reach out to them. Be the leader of your own path. Let me ask folks for you to kind of think about, did you attend Club Rush? That happened last Wednesday during Common Hour. It was the big event that we had on the lawn. Did you go, right? Have you been reading this week at Berks? You should have gotten 2 already, right? The Sunday before the first week of classes and last night, right? Are you reading those, or are you just sending them right to the trash can? Which I hope not, because again, I write those. So, there's that shameless plug. Do you have a copy of the activities calendar? If you don't, have you figured out where to find one, right? These are all platforms for you, again, to expose yourself to opportunities that Penn State Berks offers, right? So that leads me to step 3. Don't be afraid to try new things. The out of the classroom experience is also a period of time where you can learn new skills, right? Connect with new people, learn about new cultures, right? We have a large international student population here. Befriend somebody from another area of the world that you've never been exposed to, right? Join a club, give it a semester. If it isn't to your liking, try something else. That's okay. Just because you commit to something in the beginning doesn't necessarily mean that you're committed for life or dedicated for life, right? Again, becoming self-aware and learning who you are is a part of the getting involved process, right? Maybe you're feeling a little anxious about this whole thing, about this whole experience. Again, I get it. We just got out of a year and a half, and I was just talking to Dawn before we let everybody into the space about how the transition, back to our quote, quote, normal operations is challenging. It's challenging for everybody, and that's okay, right? Totally normal. It's definitely not easy being vulnerable. And again, it's okay, right? But lucky for you, right? Being here means that, you're automatically, getting out of your comfort zone and you're venturing to new things. So you've already taken kind of that first step, right? So maybe you don't necessarily know where to look for the opportunities. Again, I mentioned This Week at Berks, I mentioned the activities calendar, but social media is also another platform that I know a lot of the folks on this call are involved in, right? So we have an Instagram account at Berks Campus Life or at PSUBK_cab. We also have an SGA account. You can follow at PSU Berks SGA, or just come chat with me. I'm in Perkins 19. I'm all the way down at the end of the hallway, past admissions, past the auditorium. Come chat with me. I'd love to talk about, areas of interest. Maybe there isn't a club on campus that is already established that you have a passion for, right? I can tell you in the last 2 weeks, I have gotten numerous emails from new students or returning students coming back to campus and saying, you know what, I really want to start an anime club, or I really want to start a flag football club, or I really want to start so on and so forth, right? I'm the person to come talk to about this. And let me tell you something, it's possible. I see it happen every year. Yes, is it some work? It is. I won't deny that. It is some work, but you know what? You can do it because other people have done it and it's not hard, right? And I'm here to support you and get you through those processes. So step 4, once you've found an organization or club on campus, challenge yourself to those new experiences, right? Give that whole leadership business a try, right? If you're ready to take on a role in an executive board position or a leadership position, don't be afraid to try it, right? You'll find that you'll probably surprise yourself, right? And not only will you be beefing up that resume, right, but you're also gaining invaluable experiences and developing skills that will become really useful post undergrad, right? Well, again, whether that's you go to grad school or you're jumping right into a professional field, I guarantee you that the experiences you get outside of the classroom are going to benefit you more than I think you'll even understand right now. So back to my next slide here, starts with choices, right? So we talked about all of those things and things that you just should do, step 1 through step 4, right? How do we get there? How do we get to those steps? So key principles in leadership, right, to be aware of as you begin kind of your experience, or maybe you're jumping back into your experience as a returner student. Some of these things I would like to give credit to the FISH philosophy created by John Christensen. So I just wanted to kind of throw that in there. So let's start with trust, right? Trust. Right? A team that trusts its leader can overcome any challenge or change, right? So as you're starting to get involved and as you're starting to join organizations and things like that, remember it's a commitment, it's a dedication. So as a result, you need to be there, right? And you need to be fully present for the people who need you the most, right? So that means practicing active listening skills, right? So again, as you're starting to kind of dip your toes into new waters by joining clubs and organizations or becoming a tutor or whatever, maybe you're on an athletic team, be there, right? And be present. Awareness, right? So something that happens when you become involved and you become a leader, everything that you do is magnified, right? And I always tell people, think of this as actually living in a fishbowl, right? How you, I hate to use this word, but behave, right? How you represent yourself impacts people, right? So set an example that earns respect and commitment, right? Attitude, right? I talked in the early beginning about how choosing your attitude is an important part of this, right? So remember, your attitude is infectious. It quickly spreads among the folks that you surround yourself with, whether that's a team, again, a club, your friends, whomever, right? It really helps you see that attitude is a choice. Again, we talked about this a little bit. You, again, wake up on the wrong side of the bed, that's okay, but no one else on the planet has the power to make you choose how you feel. I'll say that again. No one else has the power to choose how you feel. That's on you. Remember to accept responsibility and become an example of integrity and accountability, right? So being a Penn Stater is also encompassing trust, awareness, attitude, right? And then last but not least, recognition. So the best leaders don't necessarily just value results, they value their people, right? So I say, make sure to show appreciation. I talked about that at the beginning, right? Make sure you celebrate your wins. You encourage people to celebrate their wins, and you listen when someone is ready to celebrate their win, right? And I always say that, remember, the simplest gestures build the greatest teams, right? So thank yous go a long way. Holding the door for folks go a long way, right? So on and so forth, right? So when you're a positive member of this community, more positive people emerge, right? And I'm all about creating a community that's inclusive and is positive. Okay, so going back to that whole getting involved thing, right? Traveling the Penn State road. So college is really about making your own experiences, right? And part of that is taking advantage of the opportunities brought before you. Okay, and I talked about that at the beginning, but remember, sometimes this means you do have to advocate for yourself. And I always tell folks, like, listen, you are the only driver of your road trip. You got to make sure you reach out and grab it. And I wanted to share a personal story as it relates to this, right? When I was in college, I was, again, a student at Westchester University. I was studying elementary education. I was getting my bachelor's degree. And I didn't get involved actually until my third year of college. I know. And I actually do have regrets, right? Like I wish I would have hopped in my first year. I wish I had somebody that would have said, do the things, right? Anyway, so I was in my third year. I was working as a desk assistant in residence life. I then later became an orientation leader. I'm sure if you attended Welcome Weekend, you remember the OLs there pumping you up, being all colorful and loving life, right? But in my last semester of college, I was student teaching. Again, I was an elementary education major, and I hated it. It didn't, it took me until my last semester of college to realize elementary education was not for me. So I ended up graduating, and I did not have any job offers, and was pretty unhappy at the time. I was working for a daycare center, changing diapers. I'm just going to be honest with everybody here, right? So by happenstance, it was the summer, right? I had just graduated, and then, I was working, so I was making income. I wasn't necessarily doing what I had graduated from college doing. However, I ran into my old supervisor from Westchester in the residence life program. Her name was Marion McKinney. And, she had asked me, she said, Angie, what are you doing with your life? Like, what's going on with you? And, I kind of shared with her, what had happened up until now. And, she looked at me and she said, you know what? She's like, this is not who you are. She's like, I know you as an orientation leader, someone who was a go-getter and someone who wanted to make the best of the situation. Have you thought about grad school in higher education? And I thought to myself, you mean to tell me I can be an orientation leader, like professionally? Like this is something I can do, like, and get paid to do? And I remember her looking at me and being like, yes. And then within a matter of about 4 weeks, I applied to grad school. I got into grad school and I got a graduate assistantship. So that led me here. I spent 3 years in grad school. I didn't pay for a single piece of college because I had the assistantship. And I got a job right out of grad school working for Ursinus College, where I was there for 4 years and then ended up at Penn State. And I've been here ever since. So when I tell you to take advantage of the opportunities, I really mean it. You never know what is going to be presented to you, what's going to happen. And because of me getting involved in residence life as an orientation leader, etc., I would have never met, Marion McKinney. I would never been presented with the opportunity to begin with. So when I tell you to take and travel the Penn State road and take advantage of those opportunities and those possibilities, I really mean it, because you really never know what's going to happen. And for me, it was the best decision I could have made for myself, because I've never been happier. And I absolutely love what I do. And I wake up coming here every morning, not feeling like it's a job, but rather the pleasure, right? I feel like I've been granted this wonderful opportunity and I don't take it for granted every day. So that was about 30 minutes of me basically spilling about, everything that I think you'll need, the tools that I think you should have in order for yourself to get involved. And I know I ran through that really quickly, but something I really, really need to emphasize is the importance of self-advocating, right? Because again, we can't force you to attend programs. We don't want to force you to attend. We want you to come out of your own fruition, right? And I realize that, as a primarily commuter campus, it's even more challenging for our folks who, travel to and from home, wherever home is, right? And that coming back at 8 or 9 o'clock to attend a club meeting is challenging, right? But again, I know I would not be where I'm at if I didn't go through that process. So I'm going to stop talking and ask if there's any questions.
Sorry about that, Angie. I'm so glad that you shared all of that. I love hearing your journey because it's very similar to mine. I know we have talked about that. I am also a 2-time Westchester alum.
Yay.
And Marion McKinney and I go way, way, way back. So I love hearing you talk about that. We do have a question, and I invite all of our participants to pop their questions into the Q&A. So let me get started with this one. World Affairs Club Penn State Berks is looking for members. Will Pause for Success continue this semester? Also, if there's not a Zoom link on the This Week at Berks, does that mean Zoom is not available? So that's kind of 3 things packaged into one submission there.
Okay. Well, if anyone's looking for involvement in world affairs, reach out to Peter here. It looks like he's on here. And I think that just goes to show my point earlier in the presentation where I said, clubs are looking for members. They are recruiting. So join. Pause for Success. Yes, thank you, Dawn. It is going to continue this semester. Our first one isn't until mid-September, so hang tight, Peter. Those will be shown on the This Week at Berks newsletter, and they also are on the activities calendar if you're looking for specific days and times. And if there is not a Zoom link on the This Week at Berks, does that mean Zoom is not available? More than likely, yes. I put on This Week at Berks what is shared with me. So if a Zoom link is not shared with me, then you can go ahead and assume that Zoom link is not available. I think the point of that is really, again, to encourage folks to come to campus and again, to engage and interact in person. We do realize that that's not necessarily possible in all scenarios. So if you need, that accommodation, please reach out to me. We'll make it work. We'll figure it out. Again, that's that advocating for yourself piece, right? That's reaching out and making sure, we can make it work for you.
That's great. Thank you for answering that question. Feel free to continue to submit your answers in our Q&A feature. The next question that came in is, how do I join the Thon Club?
Great question. Again, Berks Benefiting Thon is one of our very large organizations on campus. I would tell you to reach out to Kate Wagner, and I don't know if there's a way, Dawn, for me to put like an email.
Chat.
Okay, I'll put it in the chat. Perfect. So I'll do that once I'm done answering. So Kate Wagner is one of the the Thon leaders for Berks Benefiting Thon. You know, she can definitely tell you the days and times to meet. I know their first general meeting is on Wednesdays at 9:15 in the NPR. So you can certainly just show up to a meeting. Or like I said, you can reach out to Kate and I will put that in the chat in just a second.
I appreciate that. And while you're doing that, I did write down some questions on my own, so I'll ask those too. What advice would you give a student who wants to get involved in a club but isn't sure which one to join? And obviously the involvement fair was last week, so they're just kind of getting caught up with that. What do you think would be a good way to handle that?
Okay, so a couple different things that you can do to kind of navigate that process. I would encourage you to check out our website. We do have a clubs and orgs website. Again, I will put that in the chat as soon as I'm finished here. And there we have the complete listing of our active organization, instead of broken down by social orgs, academic orgs, and then club sports. So it's typically, you know, kind of broken down by those categories. If that's kind of difficult to navigate, which I realize sometimes it can be, again, my email address is on the slideshow right here. Please feel free to reach out to me. I am happy to kind of talk you through your areas of interest and what might be a good fit for you on our campus. And again, as I mentioned earlier, there's always opportunity for our students to start their own organization, right? And that can happen at any point in the year. So if you're a first-year student, you're like, I'm kind of navigating this whole college thing first. I want to make sure I feel good with my schedule and my academic, you know, responsibilities. I might want to start a club, you know, in October or November. That's totally fine. We can do that, right? Clubs can start at any point in the year.
That's awesome. Angie, someone's asking, how can I join the orientation leaders?
Oh my gosh, please email me. Please email me. That's such a great question. I'm so excited that you asked that. So they actually start the interview process for their leadership team like now. Which I know is hard to believe because we just got done with Welcome Weekend, but believe it or not, our orientation leaders are involved with that organization throughout the entire year. We do a spring welcome program in January for our students who come to Penn State Berks, you know, in the spring semester. And then, you know, we really start training and advertising and all that stuff right in the spring. So email me that you're interested in, again, AMC 5300, and I can get you the contact that you need.
Great, thank you so much. Another question is, where can I find the contact information for clubs? And I'm assuming that that's on the website and you'll pop that up shortly for us.
Absolutely. Let me work on that right now, and I can actually stop sharing that.
Awesome. So while you're doing that, I'm gonna look at my other questions. I know you send out the This Week at Berks, and that goes out every Sunday night, and I count on it like clockwork coming into my email, and I love taking a look at that. Where else can you find out about events and programs happening on campus? Are there other places for that?
Yes. So what's really great about Penn State is we use this universal scheduling system called 25 Live. And as a result, we can actually pop events and happenings right onto the Penn State Berks homepage. So if you open up the Penn, like literally, you know, bk.psu.edu, you know, there is on the right-hand side a list of upcoming events that we have. We talked about the activities calendar. We talked about This Week at Berks. Another way to kind of find out, again, is following our social media. And I can add those handles in here in the chat as well. Berks Campus Life. So that is our Instagram handle. I encourage you to follow that. We're constantly posting upcoming events and things like that on there. So those are pretty much our primary ways of figuring out what's going on campus.
Yeah, no, that's good. And I think it's also good to sort of see some of the fun and games that goes on in our socials too. There's always some fun stuff or some interesting tidbits and things. And you also get to learn about other students and faculty and staff through that as well.
Absolutely.
So if I decide, you mentioned earlier, halfway through the fall semester, that I haven't found anything that I'm interested in, but I'd really like to create a Wawa Coffee Lovers Club. Like, how do I go about doing that?
Yes, I love that.
Advisor.
Coffee connoisseurs and I love it. All right. So if you're interested in starting a club, it is a 3-step process. That's it. Just 3 steps. That's all it is. I know. Easy, right? First step, you got to get members. We need at least 8 people in order for us to start a club. So talk to your friends, reach out to your classmates, get some folks who are interested in joining with you. The second step, find a faculty staff advisor. So find a full-time employee here at Berks. Literally, it can be anybody who has the same passion and interest as you have, and who'd be willing to kind of commit some time to being an advisor of a club and organization. And if that person has any questions about what those responsibilities look like, I always encourage them to come talk to me. And then lastly, step 3, create a constitution. Now, I know that like people are like, oh, that's intimidating, a constitution. Don't let it intimidate you. I have sample ones that I can send folks to be a guiding light, for when you're drawing that up. But really the Constitution is meant for you. It's not for me. It's for you. As the club and organization that needs to operate, this is kind of like your syllabus, right? But for a club. That's how I compare it. And that's it.
Seems relatively simple. I appreciate that. Folks, are there any other questions that anybody has that you want to put into our question and answer feature before we get to wrapping up here? I want to take the opportunity for everybody to ask any questions that they might have. So I'll just give it another thought. Angie, remind us where your office is.
Yes, my office is in Perkins 19. So again, I am down the first floor hallway past the admissions and financial aid office and past the auditorium right in the corner there. I am joined by our administrative assistant, Sandy, who's always the smiling face you see at the desk as soon as you approach the door. And I also share the office suite with the director of campus life, who is Sandra Rochelle. I'm also joined in campus life by 2 other ladies. We call ourselves the ladies of campus life. That's Felicia Nelson. She is our student activities coordinator. She oversees all of our CAB operations as well as some other things. And then Autumn Fritz. Autumn Fritz is our assistant director of community development. She oversees our welcome weekend orientation programs along with community service opportunities. And again, a bunch of other things. So we're an office of many hats, as we like to say.
That's awesome. And oops, something just popped into the Q&A here. Here's a question. Are there any differences between high school clubs and college clubs?
That is a good question. And I hope I can answer it well. Considering I haven't been in high school in a really long time. Don't age me. So I think with college clubs, there is definitely a lot more autonomy, right? You really get the opportunity to make it what you want to be, right? And so you get funding from campus. And that's the other thing I forgot to mention in the process of creating clubs. There's opportunity to get money, right? So you can host events and do fun things, right? We provide you with those resources, where I don't necessarily know if high school clubs do that type of thing or have that kind of autonomy that college does. But again, I'm always down for exploration, right? If you have an idea and you're kind of not sure where to run with it, like, come chat with me. We'll make it work, right? I hope that helped.
I think that was a good question. And I think from what I remember, a lot of the high school club involvement was still supported a lot by the faculty. And I think, your high school faculty. I think in college, a lot of the stuff that you do is supported by the students. In fact,
Yep.
it's just strictly an advisor role. So
Absolutely.
it gives you a lot of opportunity for leadership, which is nice.
Mhm.
So, well, thank you, Angie, for chatting with us today. I really appreciate you giving us an opportunity to figure out how we spend our time and to make some choices about getting involved and why that's important. It was really nice to hear that. And I appreciate you representing the We Are Involved conversation today. And a special thank you to all of you for joining us. As you click out of our webinar, you'll receive access to a survey. We really ask that you take some time to complete the survey and give us some ideas about today's chat and future chats down the line. Please keep checking our website. The LionSide Chats are always offering new opportunities. And speaking of those, you see that we have 3 coming up. On September 15th, we'll be hosting We Are Healthy, which will be taking place at 7 p.m. in the Perkins Auditorium and live streamed on the LionSide Chat platform. On the next day is Constitution Day celebration for 2021. Constitution Day is typically on the 17th, but since that's a Friday, we decided to celebrate it on our campus on Thursday, the 16th at 7 p.m. That will take place in person in Franco 150 and also live streamed on the LionSide Chat platform. And then we are going to have the We Are Successful Learning Strategies session on September 20th at 12:15 through the LionSide Chat platform. So be sure to come back soon and meet with other faculty, staff, and students and learn more about exciting experiences and opportunities at Penn State Berks and all of the wonderful stuff that we have. And until next time, stay safe, Berks and beyond. Signing off, this has been Penn State Berks LionSide Chats. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, Angie.
Thank you so much, Dawn.